The Divisions of the Abhisamayalankara. Translated by Edward Conze. University of California Press, Berkeley, Los Angeles, London. Translation of the Sutra. Chapter 6, Subhuti. B. Phases of the Extinction of Self. The teaching proceeds from the Buddha's might. I2. Instructions about the Path of Vision. A. Survey of the instructions about the Path of Vision. The Lord. Make it clear then, Subhuti, regarding the perfection of wisdom of the bodhisattvas, the great beings, how the bodhisattvas, the great beings, may go forth to the perfection of wisdom. Thereupon those bodhisattvas, great beings, those great disciples, and those gods thought to themselves, will the then Subhuti expound perfect wisdom to the bodhisattvas by exerting his own power of revealing wisdom, or through the Buddha's might? The venerable Subhuti, who knew through the Buddha's might that those bodhisattvas, great disciples, and gods were in such wise discoursing in their hearts, said to the venerable Sariputra, whatever Sariputra, the Lord's disciples teach, demonstrate, and expound, all that is to be known as the tathagata's work. And why? Because in the demonstration of dharma, as demonstrated by the tathagata, they train themselves, and they realize its true nature. After they have realized its true nature, whatever they may teach, demonstrate, and expound, all that does not contradict the true nature of dharma. It is just the tathagata who, by skillful means, will expound through the disciples the perfection of wisdom to the bodhisattvas, the great beings. Without inspiration from him, it is outside the province of all the disciples and pratyekabuddhas to expound the perfection of wisdom to the bodhisattvas, the great beings. The bodhisattva, a mere word, inaccessible as dharma. I2. Acceptance of cognition of dharma in suffering. Subhuti. One speaks, O Lord, of bodhisattva. What dharma does this word bodhisattva denote? I do not see that dharma bodhisattva. Since I do not see a bodhisattva and fail to apprehend a perfection of wisdom, which bodhisattva shall I instruct, in which perfection of wisdom? The Lord. Perfect wisdom and bodhisattva, mere words are these. And the reality which corresponds to the word bodhisattva cannot be apprehended, either inwardly, or outwardly, or between the two. Just as one speaks of a being although no being can be apprehended in actual reality. And that word being is a mere concept, a conceptual dharma, and has the status of a concept. Cognition of dharma in suffering. Except in so far as it is conventionally expressed by means of a mere conventional term, there is no production or stopping of this conceptual dharma. And the same holds good of such terms as self, soul, personality, etc. 2. One who sees, in the same way, that which corresponds in reality to such words as perfect wisdom or bodhisattva. That is a mere conceptual dharma which is neither produced nor stopped, except for its conventional expression by means of a mere conventional term. Such ideas as this is inward form, etc., merely refer to conceptual dharmas, and of these conceptual dharmas there is no production or stopping, except in so far as they are conventionally expressed by means of mere conceptual terms. And what holds good of the skandhas, that is also true of the 18 elements. On the subject side, this body is conventionally called a body, and also the head, neck, belly, muscles, shoulders, arms, hands, ribs, hips, thighs, legs, and feet are conventionally expressed in those terms. But they are only conceptual dharmas, and of these conceptual dharmas there is no production or stopping, except in so far as they are conventionally expressed by means of mere conceptual terms. On the object side, such things as a bunch of grass, a branch, a leaf, petal, etc., are conventionally expressed by manifold designations. But of those words there is no production or stopping, except in so far as they are conventionally expressed by means of mere conventional terms, and the reality corresponding to those words cannot be apprehended inwardly, outwardly, or between the two. Just so perfect wisdom and bodhisattva are mere conceptual dharmas, and there is no production or stopping of them except in so far as they are conventionally expressed by means of mere conventional terms. It is thus that a bodhisattva should train in perfect wisdom. Just as a dream, an echo, a mirage, a reflected image, a mock show, a magical creation of the tathagata, are all conceptual dharmas, and of these conceptual dharmas there is no production or stopping, except in so far as they are conventionally expressed by means of mere conceptual terms. Just so perfect wisdom and bodhisattva are mere conceptual dharmas, and they are neither produced nor stopped, except in so far as they are conventionally expressed by means of mere conventional terms. It is thus that a bodhisattva, who courses in perfect wisdom, should train in the insight that words and conventional terms are but concepts, and that also the instruction and dharmas are but concepts. Acceptance of subsequent cognition of dharma in suffering. Therefore a bodhisattva, who courses in perfect wisdom, does. This is a somewhat clumsy attempt to render adhyatmikam, which elsewhere occurs as inwardly, and is contrasted with outwardly, or here on the subject side. Abhidharmic exercises deal with the distribution of the contents of experience between those facts and events which are interior to a person and those which are exterior to a person. The person, though implied, must however never be mentioned, and so a certain amount of circumlocution is unavoidable. In this example, the surface of the skin is taken as the dividing line between inward and outward, but that is not necessarily always the case. Not review that form, etc. as permanent or impermanent, ease or ill, self or nor self, calm or uncalm, empty or not empty, sign or signless, wish or wishless, conditioned or unconditioned, produced or unproduced, stopped or not stopped, isolated or not isolated, wholesome or unwholesome, faulty or faultless, with or without outflows, defiled or undefiled, worldly or supramundane, defilement or purification, samsara or nirvana. And the same consideration applies to the 18 elements, and to the feelings of ease, etc., which are produced from contact between I, form, and I consciousness as their condition. And so for the other senses. Subsequent cognition of suffering. And why? Because the bodhisattva, though he courses in perfect wisdom, does not see the perfection of wisdom or the word perfection of wisdom, the bodhisattva or the word bodhisattva, in either the conditioned or the unconditioned element. For a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom does not construct or discriminate all these dharmas. Having stood in the undiscriminated dharma, he develops the applications of mindfulness. Coursing in perfect wisdom, he reviews neither the perfection of wisdom nor the word perfection of wisdom, neither a bodhisattva nor the word bodhisattva. Thus he develops the right efforts, etc. 2. The Buddha dharmas. And yet, except through his attention to the knowledge of all modes, he reviews neither the perfection of wisdom nor the word perfection of wisdom, neither a bodhisattva nor the word bodhisattva, neither the Buddha nor the word Buddha. Acceptance of cognition of dharma and origination. For that bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom penetrates to the dharmic mark of dharmas which is neither defiled nor purified. It is thus that a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom should learn to recognize the concept of dharma as a word and as a conventional term. Cognition of dharma and origination. He then will not settle down in form, or in any of the other skandhas. Acceptance of subsequent cognition of dharma and origination. Not in any of the perfections, not in their name or their mark, not in the body of a bodhisattva, nor in any of the 5 eyes, or the super-knowledges, or the 18 kinds of emptiness. Not in suchness, the reality limit, or the element of dharma. Not in the maturing of beings, the purification of the Buddha field, or in skill and means. And why? Because he who could settle down, whereby or wherein he could settle down, all these dharmas do not exist. Subsequent cognition of origination.